Prof, what is the general expectation of a society on university education system to a country?
Yeah, you see, the idea of the university is manifold, it's multifold, but let me quickly say these 3 or 4 points. Universities are part of modernization, what you call modern society, whereby universities will produce educated manpower, skilled manpower, people capable of running a modern society. And if you look around the world, some of the most advanced countries have some of the best universities. Also, universities are there to light up the path, as I will put it this way, for government programs. Universities are highly specialized centers of knowledge that, for example, that are there for the betterment of society, that are there to help society develop and grow and also compete globally. As you know, because of the problems in Nigerian universities, some of the best people, the most skilled people have migrated to the Western world, to America, to other parts of the world. Some of the most important engineers, trained doctors, and so on have all migrated from the country. And apparently, despite some of the great universities in the Western world, you still find Africans, Nigerians going there, and where they find a more conducive atmosphere for their work. But I doubt whether successful Nigerian governments really valued education, tertiary education, university education. Because you see, since the Babangida days, for example, in 1992, we had a very big strike, and we talk about brain drain and so on. The government simply didn't bother. And because there is now a tendency, right from 1999, to look for so-called foreign direct investment, skilled manpower from the West or from other countries, and that in any case led to the devaluation of the local skills. The local skills migrated. Go to Saudi Arabia. South African universities are largely staffed by Nigerians. And if you go to America, the same story. Go to Britain, well, the best nurses there are all from Nigeria, Nairobi, in Africa.
Now, Prof, how the society in response to role and status of academics supposed to have recognized and reward the faculties, professional lecturers in order to motivate and encourage deep research and workable findings that forms the core fundamentals in tertiary institutions.
Yeah, you see, I can divide it into two. There's the government led by possibly individuals, whether military or civilian, including the present administration. And then there is civil society, the society that is not part of government, except in the southwest, probably in some parts of southern Nigeria, most especially in the northwest and the northeast. I think there isn't much value placed by society on university education. For example, if you look at our tradition here, people take kudin makaranta, kudin laraba. I don't think we value education in that sense. Of course, I know that there are many affluent people who can send their kids to school here in Kano, where school fees for a single people might be 1 million in a year or in the 3 terms. But I think that, with the possible exception of the Southwest, where education is highly valued, I think it's a cultural phenomenon. In the North, not quite. It's only recently that the enrollment of girls expanded, you know. You can justifiably say that northern Nigeria is probably the most backward of the section of the country, or the so-called zones. And you can attribute that to the neglect of tertiary education that is supposed to produce sophisticated manpower for all aspects of civil society and the government as a whole, but that's not the case. That's why, in fact, until about 1999 or 2000, most people didn't want to take up a career, a university job. There was a rush to the banks, to Federal Inland Revenue Service, to central bank money making, and that's why people thought that that's why they will make money. There's little sense of mission to change your society, a sense of mission to contribute to the modernization or advancement or the progress of the larger society, not just the government. And this is what you find all over northern Nigeria.
Prof, if I may carry you to a lecture you delivered over 2 years ago, seems the country's educational system, especially in tertiary level, is quandary. What is responsible for that quagmire?
Yeah, you see, remember the first University College, Ibadan, was established in 1948, and the idea was that you can see such universities all over the formerly colonized countries. The core idea was to help the society develop specialist skills, expand higher education, critical thinking, a modern workforce that can work in all sectors of society, in engineering, in chemical engineering, even in the humanities, people with ability for critical thinking, people who want to administration and so on. But I think by the time the university expanded by 1999 or roughly when Jonathan was president, 12 more universities were established and tons of colleges of education and polytechnics. But the funding was dwindling. The quantum of resources required to universities was declining. And the little salary raise attracted young people to join the university service, but they were trapped. So I think that eventually the elite, Nigerian elite, people with means, took their children to foreign universities.
But does the nation economy found it difficult to bear the burden of lecturers, academics, educational towers? Are they really being motivated?
Not at all. You see, the government has, Nigeria, this country has enormous resources to fund education, but it's also a question of priority. What do you want to do? Let me give you an example. If you are the journalist, you know you are always at the cusp of the news. The money spent on governance, National Assembly, the ordinary functions of the judiciary and the executive, money spent on, if you like, frivolous things now would quite easily fund the universities. Take for example the president. The president himself, all his children were educated in a British university. Most people in the National Assembly. In fact, there was a video go around. In fact, virtually the most important people in government, even before Buhari came into office, had had their children educated outside the country. So little wonder that they neglect the universities here. They don't think they're anything. But then, let me tell you the one paradox. I know that I had a student. I don't want to mention his name, but who went to Oxford, and he was exempted from a course that I taught. The lecturer told him, "You don't need this course," because he showed her the notes I gave them and the lectures, and I used to give free handouts and also course description. She exempted him. There was a time in the 80s, some of our colleagues who want to study in British and American universities, they were learning the same thing that they had learned in a lower level in Nigeria. But what has happened? Well, neglect. We decline because the best manpower left. As I said, go to South Africa. You'll be amazed the number of Nigerians in the universities and so on. And a question of priority. And in a government that is implementing what you call neoliberal economic system where everything could be privatized, where government will hands off all things except through PPP, public-private partnership, the university suffered enormously. But the paradox I always say is that the same administrations have been creating new universities, new polytechnics, more than the original ones inherited after 1975, when you established BUK, Maiduguri, the second generation universities. So it's a question of priority, a question of priority. When you say priority English, what do you want to do? What do you want to put money in? What do you want to fund? Not the universities, but something else.
But why lecturers are